Hello everybody, I'm Elijah Moon Blackwell with CD-ROM Fossil, and this is the first episode of late 90s PC gaming. Now I don't want to waste any time, we got to get deep into it. 1995 to 1999 saw so many PC games, and I want to cover as many as possible. And today, our first episode is Extreme Boards and Blades. Yeah, you heard me right, Extreme Boards and Blades. This game strikes my curiosity, and I think it's a perfect way to embody going in blind. See, for this series, I just want to pick a game that I own, go off the box art, go off my own nostalgia or reputation or hearsay, and then do the research after the fact. I want to be surprised. I want to go in with as clean slate as I can, even though that's almost humanly impossible, but I'm going to try my best. So if we're just judging the box art here, I think we all know that this game's not really going to be good. There's no one we can recognize on the front cover. Head Games apparently published it. Who was that? If we flip over on the back, we see some screenshots that look a lot like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And to make this even more curious is the fact that Activision's name is on the back. Activision were the ones to publish the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series, but those were made by Neversoft, which is kind of a legendary company in my book. And if we've never heard of this game, then I think there's a reason for it. I mean, unless Pro Skater just made this game completely out of date. But if I look on the back here, it says it came out in 1999, which was the same year as the first Pro Skater. So this is probably bad. There's one part of the jewel case that says original ska soundtrack, and then there says music by Preferred? I don't know. Never heard of this band, but maybe they're a ska band that I've never heard of. Who knows? Maybe the soundtrack's gonna be awesome. A big red flag is that there's no developer credited on here. And when we flip it open, if you're not picking up what I'm throwing down, those are budget games. I mean, a game for $24.99 in 1999 can only mean one thing. Those games are made with tiny budgets. Now, there's nothing wrong with budget games. I mean, back then they were a cheaper alternative to the AAA titles. It's just I've never seen a good budget game. I guess there's a first time for everything, but I've covered them on the channel before. And while those were, early 2000s, I don't think anything's different for the 90s, especially 99. But enough speculation. Let's throw in the game, get it installed, and then we'll do the research after the fact and see what we got in store for us. So let's install the game on XP. Why XP? Because why not? The installer has no preview pictures, which kind of spoils this opening episode. I was going to reminisce about installer screens. Oh well, another video then. Alright, the game's installed, let's boot it up, and of course we're treated to the usual splash screen madness. Silverfish Studios. I guess this is the developer. They got no credit on the jewel case, but that's probably them. Then here's the intro. Alright, maybe this won't be so bad. So much for ska music. Is this the music you think of when you hear skateboarding? Alright, maybe it's just the main menu. Looking at the controls, this game is super jank. Like, I know it's the 90s and controls were not perfect till later. There's no standards yet, but man, this is like DOS level of bad. It doesn't fully explain how to pull off tricks either. Maybe that's reserved for the manual? I don't know. Gotta remember that tutorials weren't invented yet. After fiddling with the controls, it's time to pick a skater. There's no stats or anything, so I guess it's just pick the least ugliest character of the bunch. Alright, let's go skate.
Go skate.
What the heck? There are a variety of levels to choose from. Some are locked, but let's just check out the ones I have available. Okay, yeah, the music is really bad, definitely not ska, but I'm going to talk about the controls first, because that is the most offensive thing so far. Moving forward isn't as simple as pressing forward. It's sort of a charge-up kind of thing. You let your charge meter fill, then let go, then you move. It goes against everything you know. Think about Mario. Imagine only being able to move after you charged up the forward motion. Now, imagine trying to do that with Goombas and obstacles and platforming thrown your way. This is exactly how this game is. During the heat of the moment, trying to pull off tricks or jumping or remembering to hold the forward button it's just an impossible juggle. Speaking of tricks, I just don't know. You're looking at me attempting it, but if you haven't played it yourself, you have no idea. The trick and jump button and the combination of directions is supposed to trigger a trick or something, but you move and fall so fast that there isn't enough time to react. Interestingly enough, there's a button to trigger walking. This is honestly surprising because Tony Hawk didn't get that feature for a long time. And it is Interesting. Somehow you move faster than one on the board and all physics are ignored. Just what the heck? And the music, just what is this? So it's been like 15 minutes. I give up. Let's just explore the levels. I can't do this anymore. Okay, boring half pipe. This one is titled Outside Level, Creative. With this music and unintentionally creepy level, I feel like I'm being indoctrinated into a cult. Probably my favorite song though. Would have been better if, you know, it wasn't in a skateboarding game. Up next is another generic skate park. Then a rooftop looking area, kind of reminds me of the cult level, but somehow not as unnerving. What? Two fat, pale guys' computers? Well, that made this worth it. Grammar's off though, shouldn't they possibly come after the F? That's all the levels I have access to. I don't even want to try to unlock the other stages, and as far as I'm aware, there's no cheat code, so research time! Fun fact, LGR covered this game. I've been watching that guy forever. I didn't even know he covered this game. I bet I saw it and thought, I don't know what that is, I'm not going to click on it. But yeah, he covered it, and so guess I'm not doing anything too new. Yay! Anyway, Head Games was a publisher that was later bought by Activision. I got this from mobygames.com because, well, there isn't much info elsewhere. It wasn't until later that the publisher, among others, were consolidated into Activision Value. It was a developer dedicated to publishing budget games. My worst nightmare. Silverfish Studios was the developer, and that's all I really know. I did, however, manage to get in contact with one of the founding band members of Ferd. It's pronounced Ferd, no P. It's German for horse. You're looking at their Bandcamp page here. The member, leaving his name out for privacy reasons, told me that the band was active from 1996 to 2006. One of the band members' friends was the guy who started Silverfish Studios. I wasn't able to get a hold of him. I was trying to reach out to him through Facebook Messenger and he never saw it or replied or whatever. No big deal, but I was able to get some information from this band member. Apparently Activision said they only wanted samples of songs, just tidbits of each track. Then before Ferd knew it, Activision dumped the entire album. Also, Activision are the ones responsible for calling it a ska soundtrack. I told the Ferd member that I actually kind of like the music. I'm a fan of anything experimental, games, movies, you know, whatever. And I told him that in a different game, it would have been awesome. Like if it was in Lisa or Jazz Punk. That song that made me feel uneasy during the cult level was Superhero, and it's perhaps my favorite song on the album. You can find all this music in the link in the description below. It'll take you to Ferd's Bandcamp. And that's about all I have to say about Extreme Boards and Blades. What a game to start the series off. Picked a really bad one. I did not mean to, but in the spirit of going in blind, I think it was rather fitting. I picked something I knew absolutely nothing about. I didn't know anything about the publisher or anything. I just went in. And that's kind of what I want to do. But just to be sure that the next episode isn't a bad game, I'm picking something that a lot of people have nostalgia for, and I somewhat remember from my childhood. If you're on Patreon, you already know what it is. I'm going to be posting about it soon, talking about the trials and tribulations it was to get that game to run correctly. But if you have any games from the late 90s you'd like to see covered, let me know in the description below. And this has been the first episode of Late 90s Computer Gaming. I'm Elijah Blackwell. This is CD-ROM Fossil. I hope you enjoyed. And I'm going to go play something better as a palate cleanser. God, I just can't believe I started the episode off with a terrible game.